Hellpoint is a Soulsesque adventure game from Corridoors Games. It's set on a space station in orbit around a black hole, with 3 distinct districts across the game, and a whole heap of secrets and areas to discover, and they intertwine, and a whole heap of subpaths. It's literally crammed to the rafters with secrets and hidden paths and a lot of stuff to go explore. And, you know, in any sort of Soulsesque game, you can take it as you wish to go across any of the areas, as long as you know how to get to them. One of them may or may not be hidden behind a secret path, but the other 2, you get a choice of which area you'd like to go to explore. And then there's a whole heap of bosses, there's whole heaps of hidden areas, there's loads of different weapons you can go and gather, from swords to long axes, and a variety of different weapons and magic. And you'll use these to good use to fight all the different enemies that are across the game. And there's a whole heap of different types of enemies. So in the different districts, they're taken over by different races. Most of the space station has been corrupted by the influence of evil cosmic gods, which are taken over in each of the different districts, and they will have twisted the different races that are in each of those. And obviously you've been created by an author to go explore and find out what's going on and eventually take on their goals. But again, it's up to you how you play the game, and as you progress and as you speak to the different NPCs or even the cosmic gods, you'll piece together the storyline, and each of these will try and influence you or ask you to do different things, and it's up to you whether you choose to help them or disobey them, or, you know, completely backstab them and fight them. The whole choice is up to you. And obviously it's a challenging game because it's a Soulsesque game, but the game does throw you in initially against, pretty quickly, to a very challenging first boss. But that just teaches you how to firstly go explore different paths to try and find other stuff to help you fight the boss, and also to level up a bit in order to be stronger for them. But it also then teaches you that you have to lock onto enemies to fight them, because, you know, it'd been a while since I'd played the Thespian Feast, and, you know, it teaches you, you need to lock onto them to be able to fight them effectively. But the game does actually say afterwards, oh yeah, sorry for throwing you in like that, you know, as the author is speaking to you, breaking the fourth wall in some ways. You know, it's like saying, yeah, no, I had to do that just so you knew how to survive and how to play for the rest of the game, to find all the hidden secrets and to keep an eye out for the hidden paths and, you know, look for these things, but also how to prepare to fight all the enemies that you're going to be coming across. Now, the game has an in-game timer which rotates around like any clock, but as you orbit the black hole, the time is affected by it, and there are essentially 3 different times. So there's normal time, then there's black hole time, and then there's accretion disk time. And during the accretion disks, the enemies will become stronger, they're more under the influence, but it'll also open the ability to go into horde challenges and other secrets. And then black hole time again, there are secrets revolving around the black hole which you'll have to uncover through the plots and the storyline and figure out how that works and what secrets they uncover. But yeah, I like the way that they've done that, so that not only is there all of the traditional secrets of trying to find the hidden path and, you know, secret areas and things like that, or, you know, any sort of secret bosses, there's a whole heap of secrets around the time and what time you do things and how you do things, and, you know, things that you have to set up for those things to work. So there is a heck of a lot of secrets to discover for the game, and that's just if you're looking for the secrets. If you're going through the game alone, again, it's actually a very, very large game, and you may get a bit lost through the intertwining mazes of some of the areas that cross over whilst you're trying to just find your way around, because you will interweave between a whole heap of the different areas, just trying to find the boss of that area, and then try and find the progress that you've made and where your keys go and how that helps you progress the storyline further. As you uncover more data through each enemy that you beat for the first time, and every bit of information that you gather from the NPCs are off writings on the wall and things like that, there's just loads to discover. Now, at times that can be a bit difficult for you because you might be wondering, well, where the hell am I going? Because, you're traversing between the areas backwards and forwards, and maybe you've missed something specific that you had to go and do to find access to the next area, or maybe you've ignored a boss because it was a bit too high level for you at that point, so you've gone off to find other things, and then you forget about that boss. So there is a whole heap of back and forth, and you can access some of them from different sides and different areas, so eventually you will loop back round to them and then go, oh yeah, I remember that, I should have done that earlier, and then that'll unlock more areas that you can go and unlock further progress. Now, what's particularly good about the game is not only are you allowed to go any area you want, but if the challenge starts becoming too easy, you find things like fearful and dominant aggressive effigy. I can't remember the exact name of it, but something that you use on the breaches to make it more difficult if it starts becoming too easy. So you increase the challenge of the area and all the enemies, and keep it to be not just a walk in the park, unless you really just want to walk along. But again, then you've got the make it easier effigies as well, if you just want to walk through and do the whole storyline. But half of the point of the game is to have it be a challenge. So, if the challenge starts becoming too easy, you can literally increase the challenge, I don't know how many times, but enough times that the game will stay difficult until the end of the game. So you can always just increase the difficulty if it starts becoming too easy, and then if that's overwhelming, you can always turn it down or request help from other players of the games. I've really enjoyed the game, and I have spent a lot of time exploring for all the secrets and trying to find all the different paths, but also, I do want to try and keep some storyline progress at the same time, but I have avoided taking on the cosmic gods because I wanted to complete their challenges, and if you kill them, then you're probably not going to be able to do anything for them, so I may have left that to a degree. But the storyline progress, it's pretty good, but if you don't know exactly what you need to do next, or again, if you're leaving the cosmic gods, you may start thinking, well, where am I going wrong towards progressing the storyline? Obviously, you need to defeat certain bosses to progress the storyline further and do more things and maybe find more paths, because they reward you with keys and access to new areas, and that's often how you move along. But if you're a fan of the Soulsesque genre of games, I'd definitely recommend giving it a go, because it is really fun to play, and again, the challenge is up to you to essentially set. Obviously it starts off relatively, well, it depends how you're doing it. The enemies themselves are pretty easy, but the first boss, maybe if you try to take it on before you're prepared, or you're not locking on properly, that can be a challenge for some people. But if it's too easy, you can just turn it up. And I like the level of the challenge and the degree of it, and the variety of the enemies. It's pretty fun, it's pretty good. Obviously, if you're experienced with Souls games, you know that you need to not fight them all in a big group, because otherwise that's just going to cause a huge problem for you. So you really want to try and take them on one at a time and on your own terms, so that they're not going to overwhelm you, and maybe some enemies you might want to just avoid until you're a bit higher level. But yeah, there's an interesting storyline to the game. There's a lot of game to go explore, lots of secrets to discover, lots of bosses, plenty of variety to the gameplay, and again, you can set online duels to go fight against other people. There's New Game Plus. You can even play co-op with other players if you want. You can ask for assistance in the world. There's even a nod to Dark Souls in there, more than just, the fact that the gameplay and the gestures, and even finding a gesture to sit at bonfires. No, there is actually a literal bonfire with a sword in it that you can light and sit at for the Dark Souls genre. But it's got a meme that I don't get with the noise that it makes. But yeah, I recommend the game. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely a recommended purchase for me. The bosses are varied and challenging. The enemy variety have a lot of different ways that they attack, and a lot of different enemy types, and the different districts of the world in the 3 different districts, they feel different and unique, so you don't feel like you're just exploring the same stuff or fighting the same stuff, even though it's set on a space station. The districts are varied up enough, and the black hole secrets and the fact that things change over the time and different things like that, there's a lot going on that's intriguing and interesting, that keeps you wanting to discover more and play more. And even then, when you fight and defeat certain bosses, that changes the enemy spawns in the world. So, for example, if you haven't defeated boss X, that won't be an enemy type in the world until you've defeated them. So once you defeat them, they become enemies that appear just as regular enemies, throughout the world in certain areas. And if you choose not to take on that enemy, at least until later, especially if it's a required one for progress, then, pathing the game and where you choose to go, depending on which boss you would like to fight as enemies, it's an interesting choice and dilemma that goes on. And then again, there's a whole heap of secrets that I'm not even spoiling in this, because you should go discover them for yourself. You shouldn't be looking up spoilers and finding out exactly where everything is, how to do everything. You should play it for yourself and discover it yourself, because a lot of the fun is going to be the exploration and discovering it yourself. Now, I'd like if they turned off the yellow hands, because all the yellow hands are spoiling everything now, but the discovery for yourself is definitely a lot of the fun, for certain. But yeah, go check out Hellpoint for yourself. It's available now on Steam and other places.